monitoring. That's exactly what Maria Solis is doing when she's calling the phone. That's exactly what they're doing while they're using the phone. So LAPD is doing it directly while I'm documenting the people of the state. That's exactly what Maria Solis was doing as I captured still images of her. She's going to federal prison. This is monitoring on the communication device while I'm sending Maureen Hughes, who's a documented third-party group stalker whose license plate I've already captured, while sending an email to her, an email that I have already sent the same exact attachments, by the way. The entity is engaging in what is sending emails, so I'll go ahead and document this now. That ongoing simultaneity of conduct as I document it on the phone. The phone ringing is a means of audible activity. So Maria Solis Alvarez, this is a third party using what is speaker companies, the business of speaker companies for purposes of the criminal elements of monitoring. This is a demon that's engaged in state surveillance, engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, which is demonic activity. So Maria Solis Alvarez is demon possessed. She's engaged in what is the terrorizing conduct, demons acting pursuant to a documented pattern of creating the activity creation, arriving in relevant position, engaging in what is presence in that engineered environment. And she uses the phone as a means of calling me at 8:49 a.m. as I'm capturing still images, which is what I already documented. I'm preparing to send the email. So I typed it up. I'm literally moving my mouse, getting ready to send it. Ring, the phone rings. It's a means of documentation. Excuse me. It's a means of federal stalking. It is a means for me to document it as well. What LAPD is doing now is, first of all, providing me the ability to remind you about Maureen Hughes, who's a documented group stalker. Okay, she's already documented by license plate and by image. She's on the grounds group stalking with that same state. And while the entity is engaged in ongoing elements of monitoring, again, this is the psychotic behavioral pattern. I'm going to hone in on the people of the state that the entity seeks to. You're not protecting them. You're literally incriminating them. You're enhancing their punishment, their prosecution, the terms of their prosecution, because the entity is one. Maureen Hughes is the state. Okay, and she was present, acting in concert with the state, both the people of the state that were here monitoring and LAPD monitoring. And she is being documented also while the entity is engaged in federal stalking. And this is monitoring on the communication device. This is the inability, what you just saw, the inability to send an email that I routinely send on every other occasion, sending the same exact attachments. This time when I'm sending it to Maureen Hughes, who's a documented third-party group stalker, and sending it to her and purportedly because the size exceeds the capacity, which again, these are the same. There's been no adjustments. So I believe it's like 25 that you can send as an attachment, and I send this regularly. So just to give you an example, I send these attachments regularly. Alvarado Gardens applications. Oh, that was this morning. Syracuse Park applications. Sending it successfully. This was 10 attachments, and send it successfully to a documented third-party group stalker. Everybody I'm sending an email to online, they're engaged in federal stalking. They're monitoring. This is M. Klein. This is the pattern of conduct as I'm sending the email, the same amount of attachments, sending the same exact attachments, all 10 attachments, sending it to somebody else. Same exact attachments, successful email sent, sending it to, again, this is documented federal stalking on the video of the internet, Jesse Gam 99, this same exact email composed. And so while I'm sending it to Maureen Hughes, a documented group stalker, and the state of California is providing the necessity of honing in on Maureen Hughes, who is, again, going to federal prison. The entity is engaged in what is threatening my life, engaged in what is the psychotic increase of audible activity, sensational activity, while flying over right now at approximately 9:36 in the morning. I'm gonna go ahead and note that. While the entity is aware of what I'm doing on the venue of the internet, it is documentation of who I already captured, and that was Maureen Hughes, also by license plate, while she was monitoring with the people of the state. And I documented her criminal presence and facilitation with both speaker companies, the people of the state. These are means other, and Maureen Hughes herself, she is the people of the state. The people of the state are the state. Okay, so the state's acting directly using helicopter activity, and very psychotic with regard to engaging in the elements of monitoring while I'm just sending an email. This is the ongoing harassment, workplace terrorism, and sexual violence by an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That ongoing engagement in that pattern of conduct is with real-time knowledge of any and everything you're doing on a communication device. Those are the same demons that were flying over my apartment at what was 5:50, I believe, in the morning, and the entity was monitoring my use of my television. These are demons that are hostile and hypersensitive while I'm prosecuting law enforcement agencies that are engaged in the corrupt system of demonic activity, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. And while I was, as I spoke to earlier, while these same demons are keeping me under surveillance, they flew over my apartment because I was analyzing the site where this officer on television was present, and the light source was directly over his head. Those demons that are listening to me while I'm inside of my apartment fly over my apartment. They're engaging in the same thing while I'm just sending an email, okay? Repeatedly so. It is directly revealing and relevant to what Maria Solis, as I'm capturing in still images, preparing to send an email, using the phone as a means of audible activity, preparing to send an email, helicopter activity right over my office, which the entity is repeatedly engaging in. The more that I document, it's not a distraction. I want you to witness the demon possess the public safety concern. When I say federal prison, when I say demilitarization, that's exactly what I mean. And they're providing the ongoing support for that advocacy of such policies. You are removing the demon infected. You're learning what demon possession is and why it is legally relevant, and it is something that is readily identifiable, and that which you can recognize not only through the behavior, not only through the patterns, but also you're recognizing those personality defects. What these mental illness with regard to the demon possessed is going to be recognized as ordinarily referred to as a narcissistic. That's there. You're talking about demons. You're referencing it in the secular. You're talking about a spirit, psychotic. You're talking about psychopath behavior, personality defects, the sociopathic, those personality defects, you're referencing the demon possessed. And they're engaging in what is criminal. There are elements of monitoring that are underway. And this is how you are referencing that. And that's definitely relevant to the creation of policies surrounding such mental illness of those that are in these positions. And you're going to neutralize that threat. This is supporting everything that I'm advocating. Okay. So that's why I'm getting it video after video, not because LAPD isn't already an established group stalker who's going to be disbanded and prosecuted and published, literally by name. The fact that they're engaged in state surveillance and terrorism in the United States. It is currently 9:43 a.m. This is providing context to what I documented that the entity was doing while I was sending the same email, which I've sent on plethora of occasions before. It is also revealing again when I receive these emails back from these applicants, the entities simultaneously violating the federal HUD housing policies while they are looking at, aware of, identifying information, personal banking information, social security numbers, addresses, while all of the entity, including the people of the state, are engaged in this psychotic pattern of conduct, looking at all of the information that I'm looking at. Maria Solis is not within her right as an employee to engage in federal stalking. That's not what she's doing as her role of a regional manager. She's engaged in criminal conduct, which is federal stalking, Title 18 criminal conduct, not exercising any constitutional right with it, which is the proper role as a regional manager. That's not what she's doing. So I want to be clear. And she's engaging and enabling and facilitating the people of the state to violate federal housing rules and policies while she's a group stalker engaged in federal stalking with the state who's flying over my office with real-time knowledge pursuant to a documented pattern of what I'm doing on a communication device in the workplace. It's going to be prosecution. It's currently, again, 9:44 a.m. This is P.O.C.